Good morning, Sue. How you doing?
Good morning, Lyric. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
It's a really, really, really pretty morning here in North Carolina. And I've started going for walks with my sister on our phone. She's in Chicago. I'm in North Carolina. And this time my two kids came with me too. So we went on a beautiful long walk and listened to all the birds this morning. And it was
Nice.
so
Yeah,
great.
we are having a beautiful day here in Massachusetts as well. Sunny, 60s, not a cloud in the sky. I'm headed outside after we finish talking today. So
Nice. With your camera, I
with my
assume.
camera. Oh, indeed.
Yeah, you have turned into the most amazing bird photographer. It's so much fun.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. It gets me outside, so I enjoy it a lot.
That is a good thing. So here's a fun thing. You post a fabulous photo of a bird, and in my mind, I'm like, how many hours did it take to get that one shot? And how many other photos did you throw away to get that one?
Yeah. No photographer, regardless of who they are or what level they're operating at, takes one photograph of anything. You always take many, many more than you think you're going to need, because you really don't know what it's going to look like until you get it out of the camera. I mean, you can look at the little view screen and get an idea, but until you get it out of the camera and into the computer, there's really no way to tell exactly what it's going to look like. So I take a lot of photos of everything that I shoot. So, and I take a lot of photos that end up in the trash bin.
Of course.
Yeah. So, because there's a lot of factors that happen, like yesterday we were in the canoe. So I'm shooting birds in a canoe, with a very long, heavy lens. So, I've got to deal with camera shake, the boat's moving, it's moving side to side, it's, drifting. And so there's a lot of things that happen that will interfere with the quality of the photo that, so you take lots of them, and somewhere in that burst of 20, maybe you get one that's the one that you guys see that I post.
Do you go to a place and wait, or do you just move through your environment and stop when you see something?
A little of both, actually. In the canoe, we're moving, and then, there are certain spots along the river where we'll stop because we know that there's activity or there's a nest in the area. So we'll stop, spend a little time, and wait for stuff to come to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I'll be walking in the woods and hiking, and, I'll come across something. And then I do a bit of backyard birding photography, and I have a little pop-up hideaway hut,
A blind?
that I sit in, and that I place not too far from where I have bird feeders, and I can sit in there for hours and just wait for the birds to come to me, which is really, it's actually quite therapeutic. It's one of my favorite ways to do bird photography.
That sounds lovely. And it kind of feels like a metaphor for any artistic practice, where sometimes you know where to go, so you go to that one place and you do your thing. And sometimes you're just wandering until the idea comes, but you have to be wandering in a place where those ideas are. Sometimes physically, people get a lot of ideas when they go for walks, but sometimes, like a walk through the woods for a quilter, to me, sometimes if I don't have ideas, I'm doodling in a sketchbook, or I'm just sewing scraps together with nothing going on in my head, or no plan. I'm not thinking hard about something, and then the idea comes like a bird, right? And then you have to be ready to grab it, catch it with your mind or your sketchbook, the way you capture your birds with your camera.
Yeah, inspiration comes in many forms, in many ways, and so you got to be ready when it comes to grab a hold of it. So
right, and I think you have to be doing the work for it to come sometimes, and not necessarily you have to be sewing in order to get a sewing idea, but you have to be prepared.
I think you just have to be open to it. You need to be you need to be open enough to it so that when an idea strikes from, some odd situation that you're in, that you realize that, oh, wait a minute, there's an idea there that maybe I can explore a little further. And I think you just have to be open to it,
You can do something with it. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, how are you coping with I don't know whether to call it a quarantine or lockdown, or how are you coping with
the surreal situation that we all find ourselves in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coping just like everyone else. I'm doing the best that I can on a day-to-day basis. I think, at first it was, it's getting easier, I think, to deal with, because I'm working hard to establish my new normal. I mean, it's become quite obvious that we're not going to get past this in a couple weeks and go back to the way things were 3-4 weeks ago.
Right.
So I think, for me, I was struggling a lot with that. It's like, okay, well, I want to get back to my routine. I want to get back to the gym. I want to get back to being able to go to the grocery store and enjoy wandering the aisles. And that's just not going to happen. And so I came to the realization over the last couple of days that I need to let that go, because it's not going to happen. And I need to come to terms with, this is the new normal. And so I'm working hard to establish my routines within this new normal that I have. I can't go to the gym, so I've got to establish a workout routine that I can do here at the house. And, I can't go to the grocery store whenever I want, which I think for me is one of the hardest things,
Mm-hmm.
And so I've spent some time investigating local farms that deliver dairy, and where I can get vegetables delivered from, and all that kind of stuff. And all of that has sort of made me feel a much more calmer and accepting of what's happening around me, because I have taken back a little bit of the control
Mm-hmm.
that I was missing. So and that's really helped, I think, quite a bit. For me anyway.
Yeah, good. It's probably good for, I think a lot of people are doing that, looking smaller and looking more locally for their food sources and things like that, which hopefully is good for the local smaller farmers.
Yeah.
Maybe not so good for the giant conglomerate food factories, but good for the small farmers.
But
right?
you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So
I think that's a good
I'm just coping the best I can.
Right. Are you doing anything to reach out to your community and help and create connections locally?
Yeah, no, well, I've been doing a lot of mask making, and those have been going all over. Family, friends, and I've been making masks to ship to hospitals and first responders and that sort of stuff. I'm doing actually a photography event this Friday night on a Zoom conference.
Yeah.
It's a free event for getting started with backyard birding photography. So, which should be fun. Yeah, and other than that, I'm just sort of sticking close to home and trying to focus on my own projects in the studio and stuff. So
Good. That sounds good. Fun.
Yeah.
What are you working on in the studio?
I finished a quilt probably 3 weeks or so ago, and decided to take a little break because I wasn't feeling the quilting mojo. So I decided to take a little break, and I did a little studio cleanup. I came across a piece of white alter suede that I had bought years ago. I used to do a lot of bag making and purses, tote bags, and all kinds of things. And so I pulled out this, and I have quite a bit of it. I think I've got a couple yards of it. And I brought it down to the dye studio, and I painted it and added some color to it. So I'm going to turn it into some bags. And then I printed out some patterns. You know, the pattern companies and stuff aren't shipping, but you can download. They have patterns available for download. So I downloaded some patterns. I want to make myself a couple of hats because I'm not going to be getting to the hairstylist anytime soon. So at some point, I'm going to start to get the grays are going to start to come flying out. So, so I thought, well, this would be a good opportunity to make a couple of fun hats to wear, and maybe a few garments along the way too. I ordered some fabrics from actually from Marcy Tilton's got a beautiful website with beautiful fabrics. So
her stuff is gorgeous.
I know, right? So I indulged. I ordered several yards of fabric. I thought I'd maybe do a couple of ready to, art jackets and maybe a couple of art to wear coats and that kind of stuff. Just take a little break, do something a little bit different.
Speaking of different, yesterday I told my almost 16, next week 16-year-old daughter that she could dye my hair. She's looking at purple and making plans and watching videos. Well, when it's short and when your hair grows as fast as mine does, I'm like, we'll just cut it all off when this is over anyway if I don't like it. And
yeah, well, I look forward to the results of that. I look forward to seeing the results of that experiment.
It'll be fun. And then I told my 20-year-old son, I cut his hair yesterday at his request. You should have seen the pile of hair he has, like super, super tight ringlets.
Ooh.
Super thick, like so thick that when we used to buzz cut it, you couldn't see any scalp because it's so thick. But I told him he's going to be the next one to cut my hair, and we'll probably just like do the shaved undercut and let the rest of it go on. We're going to get weird here.
Hey, you can carry it off. You look great no matter what you do with it. So, you're all set.
Yeah, well, my goal in life was always to be a character when I grew up. So might as well, right?
I can see that. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. I'm going to stick to hat making, but you go for it.
Nice. I look forward to seeing your hats too. That'll be cool. I did see, I think you showed me you painted the ultraside with big swipes of different colors, right?
I did.
That was so pretty. I can't wait to see what you do with it. It'll be nice.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool, and I love ultrasuede. Sewing with ultrasuede is easy and sews beautifully. So so I think that's my project for later this week. I'll start working on that. So cool. Just something a little bit different to keep it. I'm just looking for different right now. I'm not feeling a whole lot inspired for an art quilt right now. So, so I thought I'd, go back to what I used to do many, many moons ago and do something a little different.
Do something different. Okay.
In between making masks.
Yeah. The kids and I are, after this, they have to spend an hour with me. We're just going to go through as much stash as we can in an hour and cut out squares for, I did not tell all the people I know that I would make masks for all of them, but I told them, if you sew, I will provide the fabric for you and you can make your t-shirt ties, whatever.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah, we're packaging it. Well, because I have a very large extended family and I'm making masks for all of them. So hours and hours and hours yesterday and the day before and today, because I made the fancy fitted ones. And
I did that for my family too.
I think they're all too small.
They're a little fiddly to make too. Oh, you know what I did? I found a pattern and because I thought it was a little too small too. I made it for myself and I thought, well, it fits a little tight for me. So on my father-in-law's face, I'm thinking it's going to be way too small. So I actually enlarged the pattern by like 110%. And that made it like a little bit more of a general size. I think that will fit for a better place. So, enlarge the pattern if you want. But I made them for all my friends, a few neighbors. And I think we have one of those little, around the corner, we have one of those little free libraries.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought I would make a bunch and put them in there for people who need them.
Cool.
In the neighborhood. So, because I know not everybody can sew and I did get a few panicked emails from a couple of neighbors that said,
Help me.
I don't even know where to go to get one.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you don't have
little
somebody
things.
who sews, and we're talking to people who probably all know how to sew, but so to all the people who do know how to sew, if you don't want to make them for everybody in the world, encourage anybody who can afford to go on Etsy and hit local. There's a filter you can do so you can shop in your own state and support somebody who's maybe out of a job and home sewing, and buy masks from them. So
Right.
that's a good place to buy homemade masks.
Yeah.
So this is a fun thing. If our audience notices our background, we both have these same square things behind us, and we both have the dormer window because I live in my attic. We both sew in our attic. We both have a door going down or into the other room. Sue, tell us what these are. Because it was your project. It was so cool.
Right. Remember that? That was a lot of fun. That was the Box CSA project. Gosh, we did that back in, 2012, 2013. It was a while ago. I was in my old house.
Trying to remember
a long
the
time
numbers.
We've been friends for a long time.
We have.
Yeah.
Which is a lovely thing.
Yeah. So the Art Box CSA was, we gathered a bunch of us together and we all made 6x6 pieces of artwork on.
I think they're 8x8.
Are they 8x8? And they're on stretched canvas, and you would buy a box just like you would buy like a farm CSA where you get a bunch of different vegetables, and you could buy a box of 3 or a box of 6, and you would get a piece of this artwork, one from each artist. And I think we had, at one point, I think there was like 12 of us or 8 of us that were participating.
Yeah.
So, and that's, let's see, that bottom 2 are mine. And then the teacup one is Jamie Fingal. And then the one in the top, which you can see, is yours.
Yeah, there's one of mine up there.
So, and I have some others that are floating around in the backside of the studio. So.
Yeah, I've decided it's my favorite format, and I've commissioned a couple other of my favorite artists to do that because they hang so lovely together. And I've got, let me see, bottom left is Judy Coates Perez, Jamie Fingal, yours.
Yeah. Is that Deborah? I see Deborah.
Deborah. There's 2 Deborahs, weren't there? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm having mind blanks.
Deborah, Kelly Nina Perkins, I think, was in there.
Another Judy, Kathy York. I can picture their faces. Deborah Boschert is on the top left, but the bird and the colander, now I have to go look them up.
Might be Desiree Habich, we also had, I think Kelly Nina Perkins was part of that group, and
that one.
There was quite a few of us. We had fun with that. That was a lot of fun to do.
Yep, these 2 are.
That was another one of my bright ideas.
Oh, Tracy Hooskamp.
That I roped you all in. Who was that from?
Tracy Hooskamp. Oh, I'm gonna have to put it back up on the hook later. I think I remember I had trouble getting that one on the hook.
Yeah, and the 8x8 format's nice too because it doesn't take up a lot of space.
Right.
Like that's a really skinny wall there. Mm-hmm. And so, it's like
it's perfect
there.
Yeah. And when you have really different pieces of artwork, if they're all the same format and size, then they all go together whether they work or not, right? It's pretty cool.
Indeed.
All right. Is there anything you want to say to people? Any advice to give to other quilters or?
Yeah, I'm not sure I have any wise words of wisdom to share other than I think you just have to, establish your own new normal, and do the best you can. And I think the other thing to remember too is that I've been trading some emails with a friend of mine who's gone, sort of offline. I noticed I hadn't seen her posting for a couple of weeks, and I so I reached out and I said, you know, hey, what's happening? And she, like a lot of us, are struggling. And I think some people pull back when they get into that groove, into that mood, and isolate even further. And I think, and so I've been trading emails with her and stuff to just provide, you know, a sense of, you know, you're not the only one, you know, we're all struggling with this new normal. And so my advice is to reach out, because, you know, you're not the only one dealing with what we are dealing with, and everybody is struggling with their own situation. You know, I think it's tough because this is completely foreign to everyone. Nobody knows how to deal with it, right? I mean, it's completely new. None of us have experienced any of this before. And so it's hard to know how to deal with it, or whether or not you're dealing with it the right way. And not that I think that there is a right way, but I think if you reach out to others, you know, to find some sort of connection, it will help ease that, you know, that journey into our new normal, you know,
Right.
for all of us. So, you know, you
So
just gotta
maybe,
do the best you can.
yeah, let's ask the people who are watching this to think of one person that they can send an email or pick up the phone or write a letter by hand. Do we even know how to do that anymore?
Who understands?
Yeah.
But you know, it's funny because I think it's easy, you know, we've all sort of gotten wrapped up in trudging through the day and trying to deal with what we're dealing with. And we're all spending a lot of time online, you know, with, you know, everybody's posting live videos and all of that stuff. And I think all of that is great. And I think it's a welcome distraction. But I think if you pause for a minute and think, you know, who haven't I connected with? Or who haven't I seen lately?
Who's
You know,
missing?
if you take a step back from all the noise that's going around, you might find that, hey, you know, I haven't heard from her in a while, or them in a while, or him, or whoever. And reach out and see, you know, just a, hey, how's it going? Email, something, you
That's
know, just
really,
to connect. So,
I can think of a couple people right off the top of my head. You've
yeah.
inspired me. I'm going to go do it today.
Oh,
All
excellent.
right. Well,
Well, then my work here is done.
well, on that note, thank you so much for spending time with me, and say goodbye to all of our people.
Bye, everyone. Be well. Stay healthy.
Love you. Thank
You
you.
too.